Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. Um, Today I woke up a bit early. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I felt inspired to post something. I do feel unworthy, and I don't feel like I'm an example to say anything, but I also believe that one should express what's inside, and let the person who's listening to you decide what's good for them. I'm not here to impose anything or preach anything. I'm just sharing my experience. Um, so if you are a seeker, and we all start from somewhere, right? We all start according to our evolution, our maturity, and it's all orchestrated according to our purpose. But we should try not to get attached to the idea of retreating and becoming um, this passive observer, because sometimes one can start giving up on life, and you can end up committing sin after sin, believing that it's God's will, but it's not. So I mean, that's where gift of discernment comes in. The more you practice your faith, you control yourself, you perfect yourself, the more you understand, what is good, not just what is good or bad, but what's uh, completely aligned with God's will. So the more close you are to God, the more you are seeing through His eyes. You are uh, able to read between the lines. Now, going further, when one wants to live a religious or a spiritual life, he wants to uh, seek closeness to God, you're automatically drawn towards God. You might go through some traumatic experience or feel inspired suddenly. There are going to be events that will lead you towards that calling. It's God's way of pulling you back, and yeah. So um, we usually hit rock bottom, and that's when we realize that all the things that I was running after were nothing, and only God is the truth. And sometimes we don't realize, in one go, and we have to keep learning, and the cycles will keep repeating until we learn a lesson. So yeah, every seeker um, wants a guide, a guru, a teacher, a master to help him on his path, just like a traveler needs a tour guide, to show him around, to help him see the world that he is not familiar with. The same way, when you embark on this journey of the unknown, you need a master or a sheikh, according to Sufis. If you are like me, who is pursuing the Sufi path, the tradition, the orthodox Islamic way, uh, you will um, obviously understand that The ego will try its best to be independent, and it tries to resist, because subconscious, it's all happening at a subconscious or a, you can say at an unconscious level, because it's all happening behind the scenes, in the unseen. So if you are in ignorance, especially if you have fallen, you don't realize what's going on with you, right? You just listen, or you just respond to what your mind is telling you, and it's disturbing, because there are negative forces that want to bring you down. So this is where your base work comes in, your conditioning or your training comes in, that one's foundation must be built on faith and not fear, and it should be so strong that you remain unshaken every time some adversity or some um, uh, uh, traumatic event occurs in your life. So yeah, so when you're pursuing, seeking a teacher, um, you you will meet many people, and it's very important to question their integrity, their intentions. Of course, everybody has doubts in the beginning. Even I am not completely like uh, into it, into this commitment that you need, because I'm a beginner, and it it happens. I believe by the grace of God. Uh, we are um, just experiencing a story. It's hard to tell, where we make choices and we don't, but we have to forget that for a while, because it starts messing up with your actions, and the how you live your life. So to get out of that denial and delusion, uh, it is a bit painful in the beginning, um, but you have to accept at some point that I can't go on like this. This is why I'm suffering, because every single day I am living in hell. That is hell. Otherwise, you would be at peace, and you would not be complaining. You would be grateful all the time. People who are in reality, who are awake, who are one with God, they never think negative. They never feel an urge to react in a negative way or commit a sin. They are human beings like us, no doubt, but they are uh, reflecting the image of God. So yeah, like they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Same way, when you are ready, the teacher will appear in your life. And I believe that it's first he appears physically, in a physical form. God presents himself in the physical form, because you can't perceive him. So this, because I mean, this God has created this world for us, this consciousness, so that we can perceive him first through the five senses, and then we move beyond that according to our perfection. And we are experiencing God. And you might say, "Oh, I am this, or I am that," and this is my family, this is the world, you have all these labels and ideas in your head, but it's all a part of his imagination or his consciousness. It's his own manifestation that we are experiencing. And yeah, so coming back to the main topic for today, um, your teacher or murshid, uh, your soul will be drawn towards that person, no matter, doesn't matter who that person is. It's a relationship uh, of you, of your soul and that person's soul. Just like you meet a soulmate, you attract somebody out of nowhere. You have certain, your specific parents and your siblings, and you find a partner later on, and or then you have children. They are souls who you have attracted in your life. It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that you meet a certain shopkeeper in your life. You see, although we see these characters, and at the surface we don't recognize each other, but at the subconscious level there is something pulling each other. Because we all have uh, met each other before. We all know each other at a spiritual level, but to in order to perform our role, we have to live in this amnesia, uh, and it is a test in itself that do we accept each other as we are. So when you teach your teacher, again, coming back, um, you will you will know eventually that he's the one, because it's like falling in love. You know that this person is the one. You haven't been experienced that feeling before. Some people have multiple teachers. It all depends on you know uh, their their journey. um, Maybe some people may not have a teacher directly, but one can never learn anything on their own. There are beings that are guiding you, and it's ultimately God himself who works in mysterious ways. So um, the ego will always try to resist, even though you are telling yourself that I want a master, I want this and that, but at the same time you want to do things your way. That's actually another way of your ego saying that, I'm too scared to die and I need to get out of here, because you are threatened by that person's light, and you only see what's lying inside of you. Like they say, the world is a mirror. You will see all the crap, all the poison, the filth that is inside you. In your teacher. Your teacher is a mirror, and that's that's why this relationship is so important, because your closeness with your teacher determines your closeness with Allah or God, and that's where your inner work comes in. You have to remove all those beliefs that you've been holding on to, all the habits and everything. Basically you are getting rid of yourself, this false idea of self, uh, which is, it's nothing but impurity. You're cleansing your soul in that process, and you don't do it yourself. You just have to obey to the master. You have to surrender to him. You have to completely have faith or trust in him. Just like you trust your parents when you're born, you are in a state of surrender in your mother's womb, and then you accept them as gods in your life who are taking care of you. And no matter what kind of situation you're in, how you're being treated, you accept it. uh, the same way, there has to be that unconditional acceptance. There has to be that total obedience, and one learns by the grace of God. He You have to have faith in this mystical, this relationship, that how you are you are getting closer to God, although it may not feel like it. You might sometimes feel that God has abandoned you. God is ignoring me, or God is picking on me and stuff like that. You might think negative, but that's just your ego, or the negativity, the demons trying to distract you from the true path, right? And you have to accept that you are not perfect, and you are learning, and you have to see yourself as the worst of all sinners and everybody as a saint. In this world, we are conditioned to win and fight, and uh, you know um, be successful or important, and have high self-esteem and this and that. And because of that self obsession, and this self love, and this self help, not that it's not important, it does help in a practical way, but when you focus too much on that, when you make yourself your priority, then you automatically put God, as an option. You put him aside as if he's not the truth, and you are, and you start seeing yourself as God, or and you start becoming corrupt, or you start turning away from truth, because deep down you want to see yourself somewhere, and that's where your intention is getting impure, right? So you have to pull yourself back, that I'm slipping away, and I have to serve one master. I cannot serve two masters at the same time. So yeah, that's what I'm learning, that you have to accept uh, the past and learn to move on eventually. uh, and God is listening, God is watching you all the time, believe it or not, he is there, and you have to seek refuge in him. So the teacher is that godfather in your life. Some people like to call teacher spiritual father. It's okay. It all depends on what works for you. So that relationship is really special, and it takes time to actually you know completely lose yourself in that person, that image, because focusing on that teacher or meditating on him, we are basically focusing on God. You That person becomes the image of God, an avatar, and because you can't see God, that person becomes God in your life, and uh, you're making him your priority. You're holding on to him for support. You make him your identity, right? And that's where your test comes in, that somewhere you will feel this humiliation, or this suffocation, and all that. All kinds of emotions will come out, which is just the trapped energy, all the filth trying to escape. you need, it's like an exorcism, and it takes years sometimes, maybe decades. You can't predict this. It's all about, only God knows when you're truly ready for complete realization. But the point is to walk that path gracefully, with dignity, and not worrying about status and the powers and you know the rewards and stuff like that. uh, you know uh, the more you are sincere, or you stop thinking about what you are going to get out of it, and you think about what can I give back to God, to his, how can I serve his creation. So yeah, God is in everything and everyone, and you are here to love. So uh, so yeah, once you de- develop that healthy relationship with your teacher, you will automatically feel closeness to God. You may not always sense the presence of God, but you will see the change in you. That you comparing yourself from before. You will sense that there has been more stillness in your life. There's more purity. So yeah, but again, one has to get rid of those fantasies, because uh, somewhere we want to be spoon fed. We want things uh, granted to us. We don't want to do the work. You see, that's why saints are so rare, because they go through hell to reach heaven. They work, they worship all the time. They devote themselves to God, to service of humanity, His creation, and we are unable to bear even 0.1% of that. So we have to give ourselves that wake up call or reality check. We have to understand that uh, we can be mistaken, we can be wrong. It's easy to just leave yourself and sleep and eat and waste time on the internet. But yeah, I mean, if you truly want to see God, you have to repent. This is what I'm learning, that you are going to be tested all the time, and uh, it is scary at times, because you sometimes feel like it's all happening on its own, and you're not this, you're not doing that, and blah blah. It just obviously it's so overwhelming that you just want to run away from everything and just disappear. You just want to tell yourself that this is not happening, but although it isn't, but it actually is, right? You have to accept that it's this life is there, and it has its purpose. Nothing exists randomly. So you have to trust your teacher, and you will know by his humility, by his simplicity, and that person will never show off or try to control or impose anything on you, or tell you what you want to hear. He will tell you what you don't want to hear. He will tell you the right thing. Actually, that person is truly your friend, who tells you what you need and what your weaknesses are, and he wants to see the best in you. He never ask for anything for himself, and you will be tested in different ways.